Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30. It is Monday, October 20th. Time to wrap it up. And so far, we are holding on to the gains. Had a little bit of weakness here after the after the 2 o'clock hour. They ran it down here to reverse retest in 67.60s a few times, and so far it's holding. So at this point, we're just going to start off range bound going into the overnight, stay where we are, and see if they want to take it higher. So. Nice move to the upside. They did take out the resistance areas we talked about this morning, the 30s and the 50s, and that was about it. After that, they never really looked back. We had one reverse retest on the 45s here in C period, but that was just on the way up. So not much to. That was the early on this morning. So that there you have it. Like in B period came up, in C period they came down to 67.45, but that's kind of what that retest looked like. It didn't look like much to lean against, so I would be surprised if you aggressively took it. But they ran through this one, backed off, reverse retested support, and then took off from there. Had not really looked back, has not seen a lot of weakness at it, but we'll see what happens now in the last half hour, the last 10 minutes, especially if they're going to try to take it lower, some profit taking, or we're going to see a pop to the upside. But they're getting pretty darn close to the highs again. So staying on staying on the long side to get started, they're going to buy weakness. At least I'm not sure about the middle edge here at the 70s right now. I would lean against that 60s and I would lean against the 45s in the overnight. So that's those to look to buy against, those two for rotations up. And if you take out that the 50, 45 to 50 area and take off the long bias and go back range bound. So that's the way I would approach it. No more trade. I haven't taken any trades on the ES. I did take a few trades on the NASDAQ. And that's been one of those days where I just three trades actually, and none of them has worked for me. So I get in, get out, and I don't like the action, and it's just sloppy. So I mean, on the way up here, I took one more long trade after this initial when it broke out to the upside. On the pullback here, I got long. I sat in that thing for a little bit. It's like, you know what? It's just not. I mean, again, trade location not great. Decent but not great, and so when it wasn't developing fast enough, I got out. Then it, of course, slowly grounded up here to took out, got up here to that 350 level. Then they backed off. This one would have shaken me out. So and then they backed off from there. So it's like that's a nice head and shoulder pattern, by the way. So two shoulders ahead, so or a triple tap, triple top, and then backed off from there. But so far they haven't really backed off a whole lot. They're down here at the 290s, and now they're back up again. So again, on the Nasdaq, I would stay on the long side. Look to buy weakness. And I would lean against the edge, an obvious edge here at the 290s, and against the single print Cs at the 250s. So I think these two edges are still pretty good. I may put one in here at the 200s as well, going into tomorrow. But initially, I would start leaning against these two. I buy against those two for rotations up. And if to take out that 250, I would be back on the short side. No, not short, range bound, but looking for a retracement at that point. On the bond market, we did trade higher, and then we didn't do much after that. Just been sloppily going back and forth. So not much to say do on the bond market, just range bound trading on that one. I would, if anything, I would lean towards the long side, buying against that 1820 and the 1816s. Those are two levels I would buy against initially in the overnight. But then it's a sloppy like this, I would just stay away from it because you just get stuck twisting in the wind and you will not get out. You can sit here for hours without them letting you out. So you just have to be really cautious about what you're doing when you're trading the bonds. Finally, oil and gold. And gold, that's not disappointing. I traded from the long side. That's been working like a charm. I did one trade on the gold early on here, and that was at that initial run up when they came up here to the when they came up here to challenge this area, the 43, 45s. So when they were up here, that was pretty much retesting the high for the day. I tried a short trade and didn't work. I was shaking out of that. I had an immediate break-even trade, and then yes, kind of it was just too volatile. It shook me out. And then they were down and back. They backed off a little bit after that, but then they were back up again, and now they're making new highs, or back to almost making new highs. At least for the day session, I'm making highs, but let's see if they can take out the high, the 43.90. So it looks to me like they're heading higher, and I'm going to take out, going to stay on the long side going into the overnight at this point. So they're going to buy weakness. Going to be an edge definitely here at the 43.68s. And then probably going to be one down here at the 55s. I had to go reassess this again for going into tomorrow, but definitely trade look to buy weakness. One obvious edge is going to be against that big ledge here at the 66, 60, 65, 66s. That could be a nice buying opportunity if it backs off. And on oil, not much going on oil. That's range bound. They're back up here, reverse retesting 57s. So I would look for shorts against the 57s, 57.40 up to the 57.75 still. Not showing a lot of strength, so I would just stay traded from the short side right now. See how far they can take it. So that's oil. Look for early strength to get short on oil. Look for early weakness to get long on gold. So that's where that's there you have it on those two. But man, gold is just the range on that one is nothing but crazy. So you had to really be. They started off at down at the 42.80s, and they're up here against the 43.80. So $100 to the upside. So that's kind of range you're dealing with. $100 range on gold. Remember that used to be like $10 was a big day. Now it's 10 times that. So that's how crazy it's got. All right, back to the ES, and right, we'll see what's going to happen here. We're going into that last 10 minutes, see if it's going to get a little pop or if that's going to stay sideways here. But man, good day. We'll take it. The market is trying to trade higher, and doesn't look like the Bears are able to challenge this. But we got a lot of cross currents, as I said this morning. So we'll see if anything else pops up. There is earnings coming out this week, though. Big tech earnings are coming out this week. There's going to be a big week for earnings for sure. All right, guys, we leave it there. I'll see you back at I'll see you back bright and early in the morning. You have a good evening. Later.